Welcome to Campervan Chats. This is where I chat to you guys and you reply in the comments with your opinions. And I want your opinions, but remember, we are in a day and age where people get easily offended. So just remember to be kind and give your opinion because you're entitled to voice whatever you feel, but we can agree to disagree and still be friends. Freedom of speech in this channel is open. Okay. So, what am I going to talk about? So today I'm going to talk about Christmas and New Year. I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas. The kids had a great time. You had a wonderful meal and you all had your family round and had a wonderful time. And I don't know about you though. I'm not a Scrooge. I love the Christmas period, but I do find Christmas a little bit of a overwhelming expectation. You know, everything's supposed to be perfect and the kids will always be happy, and it doesn't really, you don't manage the expectation of the stress beforehand and the cost beforehand and the stress of the kids. If you've got little ones getting up at stupid o'clock and then you hit a wall at like flipping 2 in the afternoon and you're just dead. And the amount of, you know, cooking the meal and how everything needs to be perfect, and you get upset because the kids aren't sitting down eating anything and they're all still in the pyjamas, and, you know, grandma's coming round and auntie so-and-so, and we've all got to get on and put a face on, all whilst having a little tipple of the alcohol just to rev things up a bit. And it can just end up being not meeting our expectation, I think, is what I will say. And for some people, it will be perfect, and that's great if that's what you've had. But I think for most people, there's usually an argument, a disappointment, something goes wrong, a level of stress on the day. And I think the memory of Christmas Day is definitely much better than the reality of it. But we had a good Christmas Day. It was nice. I missed my mum. It was my first year without mum. And we live in a townhouse, and the front room and the kitchen's on the middle floor. So I did worry last year about even getting her up the stairs this year. I did think, how are we going to do this in a year's time? So she's climbed the ladder to very much upstairs. So she's in a better place. But we did miss her company this year. And so that was difficult. This year's been hard. But it is inevitable. It's the only thing in life you can be absolutely certain is going to happen. And everything else is a maybe. So I think the sooner you grasp that, the better. Also, the oven door fell off on Christmas Day for us, and we had a flood in the kitchen where the pipe had been knocked, and, you know, you pulled the sink away and it flooded the whole kitchen. So we had to deal with that. So it was nearly cheese on toast. But we did manage to fix the oven, and we did have our Christmas dinner, which was lovely. And there was only a few of us, just us and the girls and Macy's boyfriend. So that was nice. So it wasn't too stressful. But I've decided that I actually prefer Boxing Day, because Boxing Day for us used to be having more people round, so that was quite stressful. But now I guard Boxing Day as a day to eat up everything that we've cooked the day before that didn't get eaten, and stay in my pyjamas all day and do what I want to do, which is usually watch telly, you know, a bit of kind of editing, or a bit of just reading magazines, whatever it is I want to do, and eating the food that's in the fridge. And the kids can be lazy. There's no expectation for Boxing Day. So for me, Boxing Day is a better day for us. For some people, of course, it's not, because they end up going to another family member's, and that's the same stress all over again. But, you know, it's there is no perfection, I think, is what I want to say. So tell me about your Christmas. What was your Christmas Day? What went wrong? What went right? Was it the best Christmas you've ever had? Have you got a new baby, or the kids are at that perfect age where it was all magical? I do remember one year, I think Macy was about 3, and she'd put the mince pie out for Santa Claus, of course, and Dave had forgotten to do his duty, let's say that, in case there's any kids here. And in the morning, she'd gone to open a present and then remembered that Santa will have been, and did he eat his mince pie and the carrot? And she went across to look, and Santa must have been very full and hadn't eaten his mince pie because, you know, a certain person hadn't done their duty. So, and we were like, oh, I can't believe she even remembered. She was only like 3. So, that was funny. But anyway, So Christmas, Boxing Day, that's my best day. Anyway, it's over with now. That's great. When do you take your decks down? This year, I'm literally ready to take them down now, but the kids are like, don't take the decks down, Mum. It's boring. The house looks so bare without them. So I'm like, oh. And, you know, you do get to the point where you're doing it every year where you're like, oh, do you know, I don't need this many decorations. And yet other years, you're in the mood and you're excited and you're ready for it. It really does depend on, I think, how the year's gone. Because sometimes I'm proper in the Christmas spirit and other times I'm really not. I'm just not this year. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. And if you're upset and offended, that's your problem, not mine. I'm okay with, I'm happy Christmas is done with this year. Because there'll be another one next year, because there always is. Anyway, New Year. Happy New Year. So you might be watching this after the New Year and you can tell me what you did on your New Year. But I think I'd like to talk about managing expectations, because New Year is obviously a time for fresh starts and maybe making promises and resolutions, if you like, usually about health. But I think I was thinking about what my resolutions will be this year, and I think I was going to break it down into categories. So I think one is about health. You know, what you're going to do about your health, be it kind of managing your food, managing your weight, managing your fitness, managing your intake of alcohol, whatever it is. What's your challenge, and are you going to make a promise to yourself? But if you do, make it manageable. You know, you're not going to drop 3 stone in January. It ain't going to happen. You know, that's quite extreme. But I think managing to have, I don't know, instead of 2 pieces of toast in the morning, just have one. Halve everything you're having, or walk around the block every day, or every other day, or once a week. Whatever your level is, you have to start somewhere. And you have to start somewhere that's manageable. If you can start with manageable, you can then build on that. You know, you might add then 2 sit-ups or 3 sit-ups or whatever, 50 sit-ups, whatever your thing might be. I'm starting netball with Macy because she's going to start netball. So I said I'd go with her, and, you know, we'll have a go with that. So I'm quite excited for that. And I also don't do the gym. I like the gym, but I find it's a ball ache. It takes like my whole morning, because you have to drive to the gym, get changed, do the gym, have a shower, drive back, and it's just such a faff. So I have an app on my phone that I use, and it's literally a 30-minute workout. I literally crawl out of bed, do a few jobs, do my workout, get in the shower, job done, start my day. I don't do it every day, as you can tell, and it is Christmas, so yeah, it's still Christmas time here. We've not done New Year, so I have yet to drop my 3 stone in January. But, you know, it keeps a little bit of strength, and I just use dumbbells, so it's good to do something. Just keep active. And I think trying to walk around the block, Ruby's still running for maybe joining the army, so we're still I say we're likely, I'm on the bike, I'm not running with her. Let's just be honest there. So there was a time when I could run a very long way, very fast, but not anymore. Not without injury anyway. And I'm okay with that. What are you doing? What's your New Year's challenge health-wise? And then I was thinking, New Year's challenge for helping others. What's your New Year's challenge to help others? What is the thing you're going to do to help someone else? Be it a neighbour, a friend, a church, an organisation. You know, what can you give to someone else this year? Your time, your experience, your money, a gift, a meal. You know, what is it you can give this year to make a difference? How are you going to make a difference in someone else's life? So I think that's a good challenge to have, and it's manageable, and it's good. And then thirdly, I was thinking about finances. So thinking about finances, thinking about maybe starting to pay debts off, maybe thinking about what you buy, because we all go a bit mad at Christmas. However careful you are, there's always things that really you didn't need and you bought last minute. And, you know, really do we mindfully buy things? You know, are we getting things that actually bring us joy and are worth the effort and time they go into to earn? So kind of thinking about what you buy and are you living to your means? Maybe thinking about paying debts off if you've got debts, if you can. Maybe thinking about getting a little side job so you can get ahead, so we're not always behind. Or maybe you're just kind of, you know, like a lot of people, properly scraping by. You know, can you cut what can we do financially to free up? You know, what are we paying out that we don't? That we don't need. I was going to say, and I keep threatening the kids we're going to get rid of Netflix, and they plead with me not to. I'm like, right, okay, we'll have Netflix, but with ads, because that's the cheapest one you can get. So you know, I draw the line, but I've still got Prime, Amazon Prime, and although they're small things, it's like all these little bits add up, don't they? They're another kind of noose around your neck that as long as you have all these things, you have to then provide money for all these things to maintain them. And if Netflix brings you joy and is worth £10, £15 a month for you, then that's absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, each to their own. But what I'm suggesting is that we question our finances. What do we actually need? You know, and how much effort, am I happy with the effort I'm putting in to get that back, if that makes sense? Anyway, tell me in the comments your thoughts. What else? New Year's resolutions. So obviously we're a campervan channel, so for me, travel, this is my dream, to be able to get away in the campervan as much as I can. Now I try and wild camp because then I don't have to pay for a campsite because I'm a cheapskate. And also I kind of like the freedom of pulling in somewhere. I don't like regimented campsites so much. If I did, I prefer like wild campsites. But what's your plans for travel? So my year is looking a lot like lots of little weekend travel getaways, and trying to plan ahead. So things like, there's certain things I like to go to, like events, but not necessarily campervan events, because some people like that, but I don't like to do all of those. I've been to the odd one and they're good, but they're not really my vibe. I kind of prefer to get away and go for a hike and, you know, something like that, but kind of seeing different places that I've not been to before, but also more places on my doorstep, because I'm finding that if I go kind of an hour in a certain direction and go and find somewhere I've never been and just go for a hike and look at it, I find that I have an adventure on the way. So it doesn't have to be fully planned, just have a goal and keep the rest simple and you'll have an adventure on the way. So I think travel is a biggie for me, but I think it's mostly going to be certainly in the campervan in England this year. We would like to do Ireland at some point. And I would love to do Europe at some point, but there are other restraints that I need to consider. So I think this year we're thinking in the summer of doing going away in the campervan, doing a bit of a round trip round South Wales. And I know Macy wants to come and she doesn't like sleeping in the campervan because there's not enough room up top for 2 people. So we'll have the pop tent, which means we are on campsites, but we're going to do a few different campsites. So what are your plans for this year as far as travel, if you've got a campervan, or are you building a campervan? Is that your plan, to kind of have a campervan and build it, and, you know, that's your kind of aim this year? And then I think the other thing, another kind of resolution, which is a good thing to think about, is maybe how are you going to progress, be it in your career or your education or your learning. Ruby will finish school, if you like, this year in kind of May, June time. So I'm kind of thinking, oh, that kind of frees me up to do a bit more learning. I'd love to do a little bit more YouTube. I'm already signed up to a couple of courses to try and learn more about filming and editing to get better at it, because everything I know is just self-taught. And whilst I could go to college, I kind of feel like I could exhaust a lot of what I need to know just on online courses and then practicing it with my YouTube, because I actually enjoy the process of learning. So that's what I'm going to do. What are you going to challenge yourself with learning this year? Are you going to go and do a degree or become a nurse or something major like that? Or are you just, are you going to learn to cook, or, you know, something a little more simple and manageable? So what are your challenges this year? So they're my reflections. Happy Christmas. Answer in the comments, how was your Christmas? What went right? What went wrong? What will you do differently this year? Give us some advice. Advice for Christmas. Mine would be keep it simple. Keep it simple. And then Happy New Year. I hope you've had a great New Year. And what are your resolutions? And how are they going? And are they manageable? And I think that's it for now. So I'm hoping to put a couple of videos out, you know, every other week maybe Campervan chats, and then in between will be our vlogs of our days out or product reviews or whatever. So just kind of loads of things I want to discuss, and I love hearing people's points of view. But remember, as far as I'm concerned, it's okay for you to disagree with me. It's okay for you to have an opinion. Just be kind in the way that you display that opinion. Just be thoughtful of other people and just be kind. But let's speak freely. Let's be friends and have a discussion like we used to in the old days before people fell out over silly things. You know, let's just be kind and have a discussion and give your opinion without everybody being offended. Anyway, we'll see how this goes. Until then, 2025, bring it on. See you next week. We travel as a family in our VW T5 campervan, sharing our adventures and tips and tricks of van life. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing so you can be notified every time we upload a new video.